because you have to live and breathe your brand and you have to believe in it. And if you don't, then how do you expect others to believe in it?
Hello, Deepa. Lovely to see you again. We were chatting before Christmas, and I think we were talking about what our years have been like since we both founded our businesses, sort of just prior to COVID and lockdown hitting. So we're both approaching our 1-year anniversaries, and what a perfect opportunity to sit down and chat to you and hear all about your journey so far. So listen, how over the course of the year, it's been a bit of an unusual one, but what have you learned about yourself this year?
Well, firstly, thank you for having me back, Paul.
I know, wonderful.
It's always good to talk to you. What have I learned about myself? So I'm just over 9 months in, I think, almost 10 months with Lab 8. And I think for me, the biggest test and the biggest learning has been around resilience, because it has been really hard. And there have been days where I'm just like, oh my God, what have I done? But my resilience has come out. I did not realize how resilient I was until I was put in this position, I think. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I've learned about myself, how much I can take before I will crack. And I haven't yet cracked, which is a good thing. I think it's that test of resilience. And I didn't realize I had it in me until I was put into this situation. And, there were times when I think I spoke to you loads of times going, Paul, what have I done? Like, should I just give up now? And the people around me, the good people around me, people like you, kept saying, keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. And I think for me, waking up every day, being able to pick up the phone to people, and those people knowing how resilient I can be, really, really helped me, because it helped me realize my own resilience, I guess in a way. And I'm glad I kept doing that.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Because I think, when you and I were first introduced, I think we launched our businesses about a week apart, and it was about 2 weeks before lockdown, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember speaking to you going for that first week going, I actually don't know what to do. Like for the first time probably ever, I just don't have a clue what to do right now. And that kind of went away. And I think that was a start of that ability to, dig deep. And think, okay, well, what do you need to do to kind of just put one foot forward and keep things moving in the right direction? And yeah, having the people around you, even people that, you and I have never even met, and yet we become sounding boards for each other right the way through this first year. And, there are a number of other people like that as well. But I think resilience is probably the word I would use as well about what this first year has taught me about myself. And would you say, on a personal level, resilience is that key thing? Do you think that resilience has transferred itself into, I guess, the way that you've set the business up as well? Would you say that because of it, your business is a more resilient business?
I think so. And you know what, when you start off, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, you have this plan in your head of how everything's going to work and the kind of work that you're going to get and kind of clients you're going to work with. The reality is, it is a plan. Plans change. And for me, I very quickly started to adapt to really listening to clients, what they want, what they need, and started adapting the way that I'm working and the way that I was delivering work. But I think resilience played a huge part in that as well, and made my business a lot stronger, because I realized actually how strong I can be. And I think that comes through the work and the way that I work with people as well. And it's brought about a new level of confidence. And I've always been, throughout my career and as I've grown up, I've not always been the most confident person. And I think as hard as it has been, it's also really helped me elevate my confidence. And I think that comes through in my work as well.
That's interesting. So I remember talking to you about your business when we first met, and watched it kind of go from, right, I'm going in this direction, to, oh, hang on, I'm kind of going over here a little bit now. What's so how did you pivot the business? What happened?
I pivoted. I don't know if I like that word. I changed tact, I guess. Changed tact in I think about 2 months in. I positioned myself as a growth advisory. Lab 8 was a growth advisory. I'm a growth advisor. And I realized quite quickly through meetings, new business meetings, and just talking to people, that they were just like, well, what does that mean? What is a growth advisor? I mean, it could mean anything. Then I started meeting lots of different growth advisors that didn't have a finance background, and I was like, okay, people aren't really understanding what I'm doing. I need to redefine
Right.
what I'm doing. And I literally went back to basics, and I was like, do you know what? I'm CFO. That's what I'm doing. And actually, any good, decent CFO comes with growth advisory experience, right? So then I
Of
repositioned
course
myself
it does, yeah.
as a fractional CFO, and suddenly everyone was like, ah, okay, I get what you're doing now. And that opened up a whole new set of doors for me. Um, so being able to acknowledge that quite quickly, recognize it quite quickly, was important.
Good. So, yeah, I mean, you're the founder of Lab 8, you're 9, 10 months in, you've discovered just how resilient you are as a person and how much resilience you've built into your business.
Yeah.
Other than the obvious COVID related things, what do you think's been more, I guess, one of the most challenging part of running a business as a founder?
So trying to build a new network online has been hard, because my background is holding group background. Those were my networks, the holding groups.
Yeah.
So for me to go out and start creating this new network of independent agencies and businesses and technology businesses, that's been really hard, and time consuming. I think that's a big challenge. It's the time that you've got to put in to really do your research, to connect to the right people. Sometimes you connect to the wrong people,
Yeah.
but you learn through it. And I think the most important thing about being a founder is learn every single day, learn about what's working, what's not working, learn about things you might need to change quite quickly. So I think, yeah, I'd say those were some of the challenges. The other thing that I've been quite lucky with, and I think this is something that I would say give advice to in terms of future founders, is make sure you have your support network, and that can, or build your support network. So for me, I had my support network from being the people that I knew already, right? But then I built on it and added new people on, people like you. And I think that's been really, really, really important for me, particularly, where I've been at home by myself, trying to build a new business. It can get really lonely. So just being able to ping someone an email going, hi, can I grab 5 minutes with you? Or do you know what, can I just run something by you? I think that's really, really important. Not only for that, but also for the days that you're feeling like crap and you just like want to give up, and you just pick up from someone, they're like, oi, come on.
Keep going, keep going.
Yeah, get up.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's important.
So as a award-winning CFO prior to Lab 8, then, so you set up Lab 8, you obviously had a skill set, right?
Yeah.
That when you were in a network, other things
Mm-hmm.
were looked after by other people with those skill sets.
Yeah.
What were those things that you just kind of went, oh my God, I now have to do marketing, I have to do my finance, I have to do X and Y. How did you adapt to just wearing all those different hats?
Do you know what? I think because I work in finance, I don't mind all the admin bits and pieces, because it's just, it just comes naturally to me. So from having set up your zero accounts, all of those things I did quite quickly. I don't need a bookkeeper or anything, because I know what I'm doing. Hopefully I know what I'm doing around there. But things like marketing, I just basically ended up marketing myself. I don't even like use, maybe it's not even marketing. I just tried to put myself out there on LinkedIn to create awareness, let people know what I'm doing, because it goes back to my old network knew me as a CFO in holding groups, agencies.
Yeah.
And I had to expose myself to a whole new area, a whole new part of the industry, and how I did that. So that meant being really active on LinkedIn. And it is really, really hard. Most agencies, most businesses have a marketing team that do all that for you, but you having to do that yourself, because you know what, when you start up, you don't have much money, there's no budget to do stuff, you're
No,
going from
right.
having a salary to nothing.
Yep.
And you don't know when that money's going to come in, so every penny counts. And for me, it was like, right, how do I spend the least amount of money but get maximum of what I need to do, right?
Yep.
So it has been hard. You've got to think about marketing, you've got to think about all the normal stuff like setting up your business, corporation tax, VAT, getting everything lined up. It is for me, I put a checklist together so that I wouldn't miss anything. The other things are, obviously your area of expertise is things like, creating your brand house. What does a brand look like? What do you stand for? What is it about? What are you trying to do? What's the offer? So there, for me, I think I spent 9 months prior to launch of Lab 8 in building all that out. So it wasn't just an overnight thing of here's what I'm going to do. There was a lot of thinking put behind it. Here's what I want to do, here's who my market is, here's who I want to target, here are the kind of clients that I want to work with. And that, I think that's really important to put that sort of time in to really think about those things, which I'm
Yeah,
sure
absolutely.
you
I,
got
I mean, I'm
as well.
massive. I obviously would be a massive believer in the power of, you know, your understanding your own brand and what it is, because, you know, there's a lot of businesses and founders that, you know, you speak to who are, you know, incredibly talented at a particular skill set, but everything else that comes with running a business isn't their area of expertise. And, you know, they'll get 2 years down the line and go, actually, what is it that we stand for? You know, who
Yeah,
are we? We're great at doing this, but actually, how do we communicate some, you know, a compelling proposition about who we are as a business? So
yeah,
it's really interesting that you spent that amount of time, because I think the thing that we learned when, you know, I mentioned that first week that we went into lockdown, I went, oh my God, what do we do now? Because, you know, from a marketing industry, I mean, that just went sort of dead overnight.
yeah,
They were
yeah,
either, you know, clients were either furloughed, or, you know, quite rightly, all sort of marketing budgets, unless you were in sort of retail and digital marketing, you know, everything paused. So it was a really useful opportunity for us to take that time. And this is what I say to people, you know, there will be swings and roundabouts when you run your own business. There'll be peaks and troughs, and, you know, you'll be busy, you won't be busy. Don't feel like you have to be a busy fool during those downtimes. Just use the time really wisely. And we used that time to just solidify really what we were about, who we were,
yeah,
the type of people that we wanted to work with. Which, you know, when you're a new business and there are opportunities coming in, to turn around and go, actually, you're not right for us, so we're not going to take this. Like, from a new business perspective, I mean, that was like, for me, you know, sleepless nights sort of thing, going, what am I doing, turning away these opportunities?
yeah,
But that's what that time was used for. It was used to,
exactly.
and now I feel like we're in a position that I'm so glad we did that, because they weren't right for us. You know, it wasn't the type of work that we wanted to do. It would have been chasing a paycheck rather than
Yeah,
really establishing a business that you wanted to be proud of long term.
yeah,
So I think that's one of the things that I talk to new founders about when I get asked for advice is, you know, really understand that proposition of who you are as a brand, what type of work you want to be doing,
so
and stay
important.
true to it.
Yeah, it's so important, because you have to live and breathe your brand and you have to believe in it. And if you don't, then how do you expect others to believe in it? It is incredibly time consuming, and you do have to dedicate the time for it. You have to be committed. And I think a lot of, startups or founders decide not to continue is because I don't think they put, that time commitment in. I think a lot of people realize how tough it is and say, do you know what, this is not for me. And that's absolutely fine. It is not easy. Do you know, if it was easy, everybody would do it. It is not easy. It has been really hard. It has been, I feel like I've had a mixture of, really good days, happy days, days when I've just been in tears. It really is that roller coaster, but it is, I'm sitting here now on, 10 months down the line. I'm really glad that I went through what I went through last year, because I think it's made me a little bit of a different person. I've grown from it. I've challenged myself the hell out of it. Like, oh my God. And that whole resilient piece, it's really made me realize what, how much I can take, and actually I can take a lot. And I think that's really, really important. So, but it's not for everybody. And I think that's why a lot of people do give up quite
I think
quickly.
I would totally agree with you there. I think that emotional roller coaster that you go through, even negative emotions,
Yeah,
I still look at that whole roller coaster and think it's a good thing.
yeah,
But you've got to be pretty thick-skinned, and you've got to be really passionate about what you believe in, I think, to keep seeing it
absolutely.
through. I've learned that as a founder, that nobody will think about your business as much as you ever will. You know, it
Yeah,
doesn't really switch off. um, and I think it's one of the pieces of advice that I would give to other founders is you have to remember to look after yourself as well.
that's something I'd like to learn from more, founders that are more experienced, a few more years on us, is how do you create that balance? Because for me, as you just said, I live, breathe, sleep, work at the moment, and because I love it, I genuinely love it, and I'm
Yeah.
constantly thinking about my clients, the work, and for me, it's not, oh my God, this is really crap and all I'm doing is work, work, work. But it's how do you create that balance, because it's not sustainable longer term, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I
it's,
think I
about that.
see that I've been guilty this year where I think we put a lot of emphasis on employee well-being, and we work with, I think I've mentioned to you before, we work with the Juno Life company, that we've got a
Yeah.
well-being platform that we work for. I make sure that everybody, I'm absolutely rigorous in saying, it's about flexible working. We understand that you've got these other things going on. Look after yourself, use the platform. And then it will take somebody else to tell me that I've got to be doing the same thing. I'm so focused on other people and their health that sometimes actually I've got to stop and remember to look after my own self. But like you, it's because I'm passionate about this. I live, sleep, and breathe it. What other advice would you give then to founders if they were thinking, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to start up on my own?
I think, definitely coming from a finance person, I think you need to have a budget, even if it's just a rough budget of, do that checklist. So, I put a checklist together of the things that I need to do, the things that I need to set up, the things that would cost money, things like photography, just getting some professional pictures done, that sort of thing. Put budgets next to it and have that budget in place. Make sure you can afford it. I also, really, really, really important is make sure that you have enough cash flow going, because you don't know when your income's going to be coming in, right? It's not going to be the first month unless you're super lucky and you've already got clients lined up before you launch. You've got to make sure you've got enough money to keep you going for a while, and I would definitely make sure you've got that pot. But then think about the budgets. And for me, the way that I thought about my budget was, I've got no money coming in. What is the business critical stuff that I need to have in place to get going? And luckily for me, don't have an office, don't have any overheads. So it really was the things like website. It was the brand ideation. It was, the photography, all those sorts of things. Just getting things like Zero up and running, getting your legal paperwork sorted out, T's and C's, SOWs, all of that. And I think that's where the bulk of the cost was, around the legal stuff. So make sure you have that budget, make sure you create it before you go anywhere, because you have to be able to afford it as well, and different businesses will have different needs, different business critical, but I would always say, go for the business critical stuff, not the nice to have, before you have money, before you're generating any revenue. When you start generating revenue, you've obviously got a pot to play with, but at the very least, just go for what business critical items, I think.
Good, really, absolutely great advice. I think the other thing I would say is build that network, that support network around you, not because you're going to lean on them every day to ask for advice, but actually just having people around. Running your own business can be quite a lonely thing at times, and actually just having people that you can bounce ideas off or talk to others about, who have the same mindset as you, is really, really valuable in my eyes.
I agree. And you need champions as well. You do need champions around you. So I think building that network and continue to build that network, you never know who you're going to meet where you'll just click with them and you go, oh my God, right, I'm so glad that we met.
Yeah.
And I've been quite fortunate that I've met a lot of really cool people that are part of that network and support group. I've like you, I've never met you in person, but online, there's so many others that I've met in the same way, that it really is, it's incredible. Technology is amazing, and as much as we do meet, pre-COVID, met people in real life, I have been fortunate enough to meet some really good people online. It isn't easy. You have to seek people out, reaching out to people on different social media platforms, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever it is. It's hard because a lot of people will just ignore you. And then I think someone said this to me, do you know what? Everybody's going through their own crap this year, right? Everybody's having to work differently, look after their kids, all that. And I just thought, you know what? You just got to give people a break. They might not respond.
Absolutely. Deepa,
Exactly.
it's absolutely incredible to see how well you've done over the last 10 months in what is, I'm not going to use the term unprecedented because it's totally overused, but not what any of us expected when we launched our businesses prior to going into lockdown. I think any of our plans just kind of got ripped up and thrown away, and it's amazing to have seen you over this time just kind of dig in, make a absolute resounding success of Lab 8. So if there's anybody out there who is going to watch this, if you need an external CFO, go and speak to Deepa because she's an absolute superstar.
Oh, thank you. And I'm so proud of you and everything that you've achieved as well, Paul. It's been brilliant. And I can't wait to
Oh,
see
thank you.
what you're going to be doing this year. I'm really excited for you.
Yeah, we've got some exciting plans this year, but I won't reveal them just yet. But yeah, watch it.
Watch this space. Sounds good.
Watch this
Thank you
space.
so
Watch this
much. I
space.
love talking to you.
Oh,
That was
thank you. Thank you so much. Right, Deepa, I'm going to let you go because I know how busy you are. And yeah, I will speak to you soon.
Take care.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.